Greetings and welcome to another episode of Pop Life, brought to you by the wonderful people here at this Revolution Podcast, a show where we discuss more cultural topics like music, movies, and film. For fans of the main show, we will be back tomorrow at our regularly scheduled time, 9 a.m. Pacific, to have our Happy Birthday America show. We'll be joined by Varn and Daniel Tutt. We'll be discussing Varn's latest book, The People Are Not One. Good times. Now, if you do appreciate the wide variety of programming that we provide here on TIR, show your support by becoming a patron or a paid YouTube subscriber. Just $3 a month or a one-time payment of $30 for the year makes sure that TIR can continue to broadcast 50 weeks a year live. And you get the satisfaction of knowing that your small contribution is a major difference of keeping TIR alive and well. Now, let me get into what this show is all about. Music is not a psyop. In show business, there's a saying that rings true, a saying I feel comfortable assuming many of you have heard and maybe even uttered yourselves. Fake it until you make it. Now, for some artists, that fakeness can be a de facto hindrance to authenticity depending on the type of music you make. But in every corner of entertainment, music, movies, even the glamorous world here of podcasting.
We're coming for you now.
Whoa! Everyone is doing everything they can to juice the numbers in their favor in an attempt to get more eyes on their project. Buying followers, likes, and engagement are just some of the ways people try to propel themselves to the next level. But if you have a couple of bucks, you can hire a public relations firm to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. PR firms are connected, and if you're with a larger one in the music industry context, you probably also have a deal with a decent-sized label and solid management. If you have friends in music with record deals beyond extremely small and niche independent labels, conversations about management always come up. And if your friend just got a new management that's more established and has a bigger roster, that's usually considered a huge plus. That roster can give your minuscule music project some leverage. Want an exclusive with the bigger act? Well, then do a feature on this up-and-coming act we just signed. There was a time in my band, La Fin Absolute du Monde, we had a PR firm out of New York that also represented a bigger, maybe even legendary band in our genre that helped us get press when we released our album and went on tour, sometimes landing features and local weeklies. I don't think you'd call us a psyop or an industry plant. Since the creation of the record industry, labels have crafted music and narratives around artists in the hope that they'll resonate with listeners in their target audience. It's just that simple. From paying DJs to, at one time, owning radio stations, artists and labels have always tried to control distribution. James Brown owned not just his own label, but multiple record pressing plants and several radio stations in regions with large Black listening audiences. He had an extraordinary level of control over how many people heard his music. It could go from the pressing plant directly to the radio station. Brown was eventually forced to sell those stations due to tax liens and fallout from a payola scandal in the 1970s. Magazine placement and relationships with musical tastemakers matter too, and this is where labels become important. If you're on a label with a big band, maybe some of that attention trickles downstream. Someone wants an interview with Big Band X, great, but can you also do a fluff feature on this new act we're trying to break and see if they stick? Then there's the Nepo Baby label people use to discredit musical success. Look, I love Wilson Phillips. Who doesn't? But they're practically the textbook example of what that paradigm, and nobody viewed their proximity to music as an obstacle to success. It was part of the appeal. They had musical pedigree. Who wouldn't want to hear the offspring of the Beach Boys and the Mamas and the Papas? That's a legendary inheritance. Another thing people ignore is this. If you come from a family with wealth and industry connections, you should probably be good. If your dad is a professional football player and growing up, you get access to training facilities, coaching, and professional mentorship. You should end up being a a better player than your peers who didn't have that access. Acting as if access itself is cheating is an absurd notion to me that we mostly reserve for entertainment. Of course, my friend Toure Reed can write well and became an academic. His dad is Adolph Reed. Can you imagine what homework assistants look like in that house? But what we're seeing now, something that didn't exist years prior, is an entire ecosystem built around internet analysis. The so-called democratization of media and social platforms has created an environment where every minor thing, like digital marketing, is transformed into a political conspiracy theory. Someone with a wealthy or connected family cheated, and everything you like is manufactured. Well, maybe some of it is. I grew up loving 22-minute toy commercials disguised. Get these words right, as cartoons. And today the adult toy market aimed at people my age outsells the youth market. So maybe the marketing worked. Mainstream terrestrial radio was once packed with major label bands benefiting from complicated payola arrangements and tightly controlled playlists. As media consolidation accelerated after deregulation in the mid-1990s under the Clinton administration, it became increasingly difficult for acts on smaller labels to break through. College radio became important because it profiled more obscure and experimental acts. Now, algorithms give you more of what you already like. But true organic discovery can feel harder to come by. What's never hard to come into contact with, however, is someone online telling you that your favorite new band is an industry plant or a Nepo baby. What they usually won't tell you is whether the music is actually any good. Here to discuss this with me is my good friend and touring musician, the leader of Conan Neutron and his secret friends. Please welcome, not a Nepo baby, not an industry plant, Conan Neutron.
That's right. I don't know what industry would have me, frankly, if I was planted. But yeah, glad to be here. Not a Nepo baby. So yeah, we can just quiet that discussion. That would be great. If it was, I definitely would have actually sold more records by now. So.
Yeah, that's another thing. We maybe if I was connected like that, I'd have.
I'm brought to you by Big Jacket. It's a lobby firm that most people don't. Because founded by David Byrne. Big Jacket, everybody. This is an interesting topic because I feel like this happens every year or two now, where we get like the latest, of course, being Geese, but it was Wet Leg before that. Oh, such and such is an industry plant. Oh, so they have connections. It's like industry plant. Like what? What are they, like a sleeper cell agent? Like what are we talking about here?
I don't like that. Even Bill Cody and I were having that conversation. I was like, I don't like the term plant because, like you said, it feels like a sleeper cell agent. And I'm like, well,
yeah, it's like, what are they gonna do?
Has things that you tell me someone in an A&R department signed a band and they want people to hear that band, and that's a plant? I don't understand.
Oh, you're telling me we're gonna use their connections as leverage? No. I thought this was a meritocracy. Oh, okay. Great. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Exactly. Who thinks that, by the way?
Were
anybody?
Did you? So I read, and getting ready for this, we were supposed to do this show a couple weeks ago. And
right. When this article was really fresh in everyone's mind. Now they've moved on like 7 other things, but it's still relevant.
Well, there's a new thing that I think relates to this, and I was telling you this real briefly off air. And it's a thing that I've heard since the 90s. That hip hop, especially gangsta rap, was started by private prisons during the 90s to encourage more black people to commit crimes and then get incarcerated. That's an insane. First of all, the power you've given music at that point.
I know. It's like the amount of work to get to craft that idea and that sort of universe. I wish there was that much good writing on these television shows. Right? Like,
a song ended Vietnam War, right?
Yeah, I know. It's like what I mean what is everyone so busy with that this is what they're okay. All right, fine. So this is like sure. Okay, yeah, we're just going to say like an entire. So now it's an entire genre is a psyop. Okay,
and the uptick in crime in the 90s had nothing to do with massive amounts of cocaine flowing through urban areas that had been degraded through deindustrialization. That had
Yeah. That had nothing to do with it. What are you talking about, sir? How dare you?
No,
Yeah.
it was rap music.
Yeah.
All those
that was
plumbers
it.
quit their job to rap.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a plumbing shortage. Get
Where
the
the
Super Mario Brothers here. They'll sort it right out.
We can't get any, and so more migration came that way because all the construction workers became rappers.
I mean, if somebody says some insane stuff like that, where do you even start? Because this is like we don't even have an agreed set of facts to begin a conversation with. Because I'm just like, what you're saying is insane, and I'm going to back away slowly. Is what I would say. Because looking at things macrocosmically, but absent of any context, yeah, you can make up any crazy stuff. Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Yeah, that's what happened. Was there an aggressive push for, hustler culture and bling bling and whatnot? Of course there was. Yeah, absolutely. But is that shocking in a capitalistic society? Not to me, it's not.
Jerry Maguire. So I guess
Show me the money, man. Yeah, I mean, like, what are we talking about? Like, is this worthy of discussion? Oh, yeah, like selling an image of success. I'm sorry, ever heard of Elvis Presley? Like this is nothing new under the sun. Everyone's shocked by it. Oh yeah, they gotta be activated by like the passphrase. All right, sure.
Recently, and another thing I wanted to, and another thing, and this is on topic. Billy Corrigan was being interviewed, right. And I know that already tightened.
Yeah, I'm already mad about it.
I saw them tighten as I said that. Billy Corrigan, this was a few months ago, was interviewed.
That bald bitch has his own podcast now, and I'm pissed off about it. How dare he? Yeah,
I think it might have been on the podcast, but I feel like
probably.
It was another interview.
I'll never watch it or listen or whatever. Never happen. But go ahead.
But Corrigan goes, well, I've been in these rooms with these connected people, and what they said was that MTV stopped playing our videos as much and started playing rap videos. And if you look at the late 90s, rap took over the charts. And it's because of this government push to fill these private prisons.
Right. And this is also something where my favorite conspiracy, which is personal animus and grievance, like writ large, where it's like, oh yeah, I was personally inconvenienced, so therefore it's a conspiracy. No, man, that isn't what's happening. Like maybe you're just a prick in an industry where, you better never fall, you better never stumble, because if you're like if you're a jerk, no one's going to be there to catch you. And that's look, if you're making money for the company, then they love you. But the second you don't, like you're off no one's going to be, oh yeah, well Billy's great. They're like, oh yeah, well he is a prick, and he's also not selling records now. And the idea that, because the idea that it's a conspiracy against me specifically. It's like, really? No other bands, just you? Okay. Yeah.
In fairness, he said all of the grunge bands.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It wasn't just to that movement, such as it was, corporate crafted as it was just over naturally. It's just that like it was the natural order of things was quote unquote grunge bands for forever. Yeah. Just like how hair metal was. Yeah. Okay.
Well, trying to explain that to someone is hard, right? Because you have to tell someone, okay, check this out, Brother Corrigan. If I got into your band at, let's say, 13, and when did they come out? 91, 92 is their first record? By 97, which he says is the year, right? 97, I'm 17. I may not dig you the same way I dug you at 13. Just like
because
you're
like,
I watched at 13.
He has feelings and I have feelings. All right, well, 1,000 Midwest emo bands launch careers for the exact same reason, and it's like whatever. Sometimes people's tastes change, and honestly, sometimes people just make music that's of the era. Like there are times where it's like, oh yeah, that band. That record sounds like a 90s record, but, I like that. Or that band sounds like a 90s record. Oh, boy. Where it's just like it sounds dated. And it's the same thing in, like, the pop world. Like, think of, like, do you believe in life after love? It's like, oh, yeah, does that sound like it came out today? No, it does not. It sounds like it came out right when auto-tune was used as a tool, right? And, T-Pain could never. Okay, well, he did, though. But, and I think it's ridiculous. Because again, you're talking about people who, they're looking at it from a careerist perspective, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but they're misreading the cues. And again, I think when people have had a taste of success, they start thinking this is the natural way that things should be. No. No, it is not. So much of it is just luck and happenstance. Skill will get you so far. Craft will get you so far. But, I mean, if you get a moment, man, take advantage of it. But it's not going to – don't assume that the conditions that brought you there are going to be that way for forever. Thank you very much, Road Dog.
Why do you think, though, in all seriousness, why do you think that's hard to get across when you hear artists who we understand have a certain amount of access? I do not doubt that Billy Corgan has been in a room with MTV executives. I feel very confident that he's been in a room with MTV executives. I feel very confident that he's been in a room with ASCAP and BMI executives. I feel very confident that he's been in a room with whatever label he was on executives, television executives. I don't think that he didn't hear that, but
I don't think he could hear it. They were probably telling him, and he wasn't, because the thing is, a guy like that, you hit him in the face with a sledgehammer. He's not going to get the point because it doesn't match his worldview. It's framed reality, right? It's in the same way that didn't he gravitate towards Alex Jones and all that?
Yes.
Because those kinds of people, I hate to be reductive, but those kinds of people are very prone to getting caught up into the framed reality arguments. And they have the access list drop when information shows up that doesn't match that frame. And that, it all goes back to Lakoff, right? And I think that this is just another example of his worldview, which is he can't take it from perspective of maybe my new record sucks.
It's not resonating, yeah.
And a great artist will recognize that, right? Even Neil Young was hey, that was my ditch period, he did. That's good. That's good. Big bolo tie, yeah. It is a big bolo tie. It's bigger than normal this time. He called it his ditch period, right? Which is basically he was in the ditch emotionally. And so sort of it was everything he was doing and writing was sort of not primed for success kind of thing. But then we're also talking about for Neil Young, that's someone that they heard Trans, which is his, Devo Kraftwerk sounding record. They're yeah, it's pretty good. We just thought there'd be some rock songs. Oh, you want some rock songs? So he put out a record. It was straight 1950s rock and roll as a piss take. And it's okay, well, that guy's going deep. But that shows a level of self-awareness with it where that's an artist that just does whatever he wants. And, if people are along for the ride, great. That's the best way to find success, by the way. But someone like Corgan, who, again, we're talking about someone that, on Siamese Dream was I'm just going to play the bass parts, I think. And it's what? Really? Okay, why you have a band at all then? And, I mean, I'm talking about, my friend Paho was in that band Zwan with him.
Oh,
and, yeah, and you would never know because he's not on the freaking record because it's just freaking Billy, triple track and everything. It's why have, dudes from Chavez and why have, from Slint, why have these guys on your band if you're not going to let them play? Time fades away. Nice. Yeah. And it's one of those things that that's the kind of guy he is. So by the way, I love almost every era of Neil Young. Time Fades Away is a great record. And I do like the Ditch trilogy, but I'm saying that's what he personally referred to it as. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't exactly prime for commercial success either. But I think going back to Corgan, a sentence I hate to say, is that he's so wrapped up in the ego of it all that it can't be. He can be failed, but he cannot fail. Right? Does that make sense? And yes. I think that's a lot of. Yes. A lot of times when you see people reacting to this kind of thing, oh, why, what was it this week we're talking about? Okay, it's geese or this one. All right, well, why them? Well, I mean, you're asking why did lightning strike in a lot of ways? And granted, there's always stuff like the Strokes, right? Yeah, were those guys all Nepo babies? Sure, but the music's pretty catchy and they were a well put together band. If there was nothing there, that usually doesn't last, and that does happen. Sometimes you're yep. All right, what are we doing here?
No. I wrote this thing, and then Burgess and I have a chapter where we had a conversation pretty much for an upcoming book on Mike Watson's publishing press, Revolve Press, and it's a compendium about metal. And one of the things I talked about was the redundancy of genres from hair metal to what is called grunge, and how the marketing was very similar for certain bands. From
Oh, sure. It's just like change the uniform, right?
Yeah, just change the uni, and you have to have something that resonates with people. To your point about another person that I'm not the biggest fan of when he's in the public eye, Nikki Sixx. Right. This is one of those fights. It's like, I don't want to hear this, but I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I like the drummer or bass player from Godsmack had said something about Motley Crue using backing tracks, and then Nikki Sixx kind of responded back like, "But when those guys never really had a hit, and we actually have hits, and
This is Nikki Sixx talking to the Godsmack guy.
Yeah.
All right, talk about a fight that I hope both lose. But anyway,
yeah, it was one of those. I'm like, I just want to see what these two.
Let them fight.
People are saying. yeah. Well, I'll break it up if I see blood. And
maybe.
And what I you kind of have to go. Well, yeah, it's like I don't know too many people, and I'm sure they exist, that go, dude, I love Godsmack. Their fourth album. I've never heard someone say that.
Well, yeah, because again, a lot of these new metal bands they decided that their particular sort of cul-de-sac was like the be-all, end-all of aggressive music. No.
That's a great word for, I think, very suburban music, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's mad at dad music, right? And it's like there's always going to be suburban kids that are mad at dad. So, all right, like we've got that market cornered now. Cool, well, it's going to be something else later, maybe that's going to be dubstep or whatever the hell. I don't even know what it would be at this point. But like, again, acting like it's a natural order of things to always be on top is absurd. And any artist worth their salt, if you look at artists that's had like a long career and have weathered tides, is you don't chase trends. You stay true to yourself. And sometimes that means you can be out in the wilderness for a while and come back. But people don't want to look at it like it's work either, where it's like, okay, the act of crafting a song is work. The act of crafting a record is work, so on and so on. The act of being a good live band is work. You know this. You've done all of these things. And for whatever reason, we're like, yeah, but that's fun. I'm like, well, yeah, ideally it is fun. Absolutely, but it's also work, and if you're not treating it as such, and a lot of these people don't, they get all jacked up on drugs and they go, oh, why wasn't our record a huge success? I don't know, maybe because it's a mess and because you weren't fully engaged with it. Why would you think of any other job where you could just give 10% and be like drunk and high all day and be like, whoa, this is going to be a great success now. Really? Does that work in engineering? Does that work in sanitation? Probably not.
That's a thing in our business.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say our for the sake of argument for this conversation. I feel like I did it long enough. I could be
your grandfather. Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But you live in a world where you can be as debaucherous as hell. And sometimes that plays into, depending on the genre, that plays into your mystique, and it's part of your marketing. And if people want to talk about psyops, it's like, look, dude, ask yourself about these managers, these A&Rs, these entire labels that kept people high out of their minds.
Sure, easier to control.
They keep churning out fucking records.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you have people that just gotta lose the plot themselves. Like look at Andre 3000. Outkast is brilliant, and the ultimate terminus, I guess we would call it that, of the band was the splitting off, and was he jamming flute records? I mean, good for him. I don't want to hear it. But that's someone that's had to wait. You need someone to tell you no, son. Where it's like, no. What are you doing with this flute?
Have you heard the piano album?
I've not heard the piano record. I'm a busy man.
Keep it that way.
Peace and love to Andre. But nothing's gonna change the fact that when Outkast is great, and he's obviously a great musician, but almost paralyzed by the possibilities. I think also in a genre that even if you're an outlier of that genre, but that there's very little respect for history, let alone enduring artists or characters within that history, that it can be hard to find a benchmark to even build a long-standing career. Because the career is that, it's like you just make money. All right, what happens after make money? Make more money. Okay, then retire because you have a bunch of businesses like Jay-Z or whatever. Okay, well, I mean, fine, that's one model, but if you're actually a super creative entity and you get this mainstream acceptance, like, yeah, hey, yeah, it was like the biggest song in the freaking world, and it was one song on a double record by Outkast.
Yeah.
Both sides were good, and like very representative of what those guys were doing, but. Where did it go from there? I don't know. Down the drain, as far as I can tell. Like as far as making music, like just like it didn't work for a mainstream audience. But it also is something where he almost seemed bored by it. Okay, well, I mean that's fine. Then don't do it until like you feel something that moves you, which apparently is the flute.
I mean, he's been featured on songs, right?
He's not been completely like in a Shaq Reddit manifesto.
But to your point, they did something that not a lot of people do, and this is the other thing that I think a lot of people miss about the music industry is the amount of money people do not make. Because to make enough money, like if you think about it, like we talk about,
like an Idlewild was a bomb too. Like where they're now we'll make a movie and do a soundtrack, and that did not. Ooh,
but if you think about like when you hear about like drug dealers and they found so much of dope in this place, but they give you this crazy street value that person never would have sold it for because there's wholesale, there's pinching, there's like a million reasons why they never would have got that dollar amount. But the amount of money that you'd have to have and then be good with, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for the rest of your life.
Right.
So think about a band. Who do we know that like was really hot and fell off?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Metallica. Like, how much is enough, right? Where it's
that's an again interesting case study, right? Yeah, so here's a band music, that charts without any radio airplay and no videos. They were charting with the Master of Puppets. Yeah. They chart again with Justice for All, but by that time they shoot a video. They're headlining arenas instead of opening. Remember, they were opening for Ozzy in '86.
That's right.
They're still doing theaters, but they're still living for a while, and I think until maybe the later '80s, together.
Right. They're keeping their personal costs low and making the band their priority before family stuff.
And then the Black Album is an explosion because also you owe recoup on those records. They're working back in the day of real deal tour support.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
By the time they're breaking even, they are blowing up into the stratosphere, and there's not too many groups that you can say did that because there's so many different eras.
And there's so many, we're dealing with an atomized, at least balkanized, if not atomized world now. But the world of Metallica put the Black Album out into, it doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. Like, and the only things you'll ever see with that same kind of like pseudo monoculture appeal are pop products, where it's like the artists with a 360 deal that like whatever they're buddied up with Universal or like whatever and it's just something we used to joke about a lot in the 90s back when there was so and so sold out, they sold out, and it's like people don't even know what that means now, like sold out. And to go back to Metallica, you said we sold out every seat in the house.
Right, until he left he leaves the band. But
exactly.
I always think of that band because you see them now only playing in the round. For those that doesn't know what that mean is, when you get to a certain level, you start dictating how you want to bisect the audience, and that's going to dictate like how your sellout works. So if you're in an arena like a football stadium, depending on how you build out your stage means how many people that can be held, and then you guys come on an agreement. Okay, we can hold this many people on the ground, this many people in the crowd, and if we sell this many tickets to sell out, you're going to pay us differently. When you play in the round, you go, okay, all of the stadium is open, all of the ground is open, and we're selling out in the rounds worldwide. That's insane. Right,
it's crazy, and it's on a level that we just don't see that much right now. Like even Iron Maiden,
I don't know.
Right? Iron Maiden has their adherents, but they're Iron Maiden super fans. Whereas with Metallica, they still have that weird kind of mainstream, whatever that means, appeal. That granted, they're only going to like really know 3 songs. But but they're still buying the ticket, right? They're still going to go see. And you know what? That's still probably a good show. I don't know. I haven't seen it in like 20 years, but like.
But would you, like, you can look at their rise to success and say, I think that's organic. They did have
you can, right? Sure, they had well, and they were the ones that seized the moment for going mainstream at the exact right time for all of the work, years and years, like a decade plus of work that they had done to get there, and they did all the right things at all the right times, which is not always. And that's another thing that people think, like, where it's just like, oh, it's connections. Like, yeah, but it's also the work that you're putting in. Mm-hmm. It's showing up and being around and being consistent is like a huge part of it. And there are bands that are later period successes or have kind of crazy left. Look at the Flaming Lips, right? Mm-hmm. No one thought that they would be like that they would have like a second/third act, because I mean they started off as being like a Butthole Surfers style noise rock band, basically
college rock band. Right?
College rock,
we called it back then. Yeah.
By the way, on Iron Maiden, the Flight 666 documentary, I don't think it's streaming anywhere, but Dickinson flies them all around because he's a jet pilot. Mm-hmm. He flies them all around the world to all these different places in different countries. It's super good. It made me kind of like dig deeper into Iron Maiden, just kind of be like, these guys are pretty cool. They're doing their thing for their people, and you got to appreciate that. And the freak factor of the lead singer being the pilot was kind of amazing as well. So Flight 666. I don't even know if it's streaming, but yeah, that's speaking of Iron Maiden.
Sam Dunn did that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. But yeah, so getting back to the point of like, Metallica was seasoned. They were meeting the moment, right? Like in a way that Nirvana didn't come out of nowhere either.
Exactly.
It's like they were.
Them up, but yeah, go ahead.
They were considered Melvin's Jr. for a good period of time and for good reason. But Bleach was a good record and solid record. Friend of this show now, as well as my shows and in real life, Daniel House, the Skin Yard, Nirvana used to open for them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they met the moment in a big way, in a way that we really haven't seen the likes of since. Probably the closest thing was like maybe at the drive-in or something, but even then it wasn't
not even close.
Level.
But that's not even.
But that's I'm saying that's the closest we got, and that was.
But that's so far. You know what I mean? Like, that's so far away.
Look, I'm with you. I'm just saying that like we don't. The industry figured out how to circumvent those moments, or rather, maybe circumvent's the wrong word. Cannibalize them, and so that's something that when people are talking about, so and so is a psyop. Oh no, it's just like they're using PR tactics. They're again, if there's nothing there, mm-hmm. it's never gonna work. Like Ashley Simpson or something, where it's like, oh my god, like how did this record even get made? Like
that's a great point, right there, Ashley Simpson.
Yeah.
Because it's Ashley Simpson that you can point to and say, this gives us that poptimism where we're not going to treat anyone like Milli Vanilli anymore. Milli Vanilli becomes like the NCAA death penalty. We did it once. It was devastating to SMU. Never again.
And it's never going to happen again.
Will we take away scholarships like that for
we realized it was egregious. Sorry to the horses that already left the barn. Yeah.
So you think about, and this person, Jacob Vigil, says Boney M is a psyop. For people that don't know, I've talked about this for a while. At some point, I will finish this thing where I was writing about authenticity, and I went down a rabbit hole, if you will, about Milli Vanilli, and found out about Boney M, and not just about them, but about entire genres of music where the person on the album cover was not the person singing the song. Right. Actually, after Milli Vanilli got busted, 3 #1 dance songs in the dance charts were not sung by the people in the made-up band. And all 3 bands were created by the same group of producers. No one talks about that as far as a psyop, because it's kind of, for a lot of people, it's like, oh, that's in the past. It's like, in the past in what way?
Right.
AI is an official thing.
Yeah.
We cannot deny that because music becomes so generic, and I think you would agree with me here, because music becomes so generic, you really open the door for the background noise of your day being created by a machine and not by people.
and the concept of that is like so odious and just repulsive to me, as is to a lot of people who really have deep connection to music rather than just something to have on in the background. That it's flabbergasting that those ideas are just not represented by any of these companies. But it's like whatever, they're seeing the profit model. Back to what you're saying about the people not writing the songs. Remember, in a post Beatles world, that was the only time that like people like, oh, the band. The people that we see are writing the songs and performing the songs. The idea before that was like, the singer and the songwriter would be two different people. The songwriter could look like some like an actuary from Brooklyn. It wouldn't even look like like stage ready at all.
Same thing with the musicians, right?
Sure, yeah. I mean, like it just like looks like
want to be seen.
Some tubby dude with like with the Friar Tuck hair going on, just like but it's jamming on the bass and it sounds great and it works with the song. But the Beatles changed all that, and then it became more about the package, which of course then went to the nth level with your New Kids on the Block and what have you, and all that stuff, and which led to the packaged pop product that we have now. But Billy Vanilli is an interesting case. It'd be interesting to talk to those guys because it's like, boy, they got done dirtier than like anyone.
Yeah, there's only one left. Yeah.
Oh, did one of them die? Oh,
He killed himself.
That's dark.
Oh, you don't know the story?
Not, I mean, but looking at their fucking Tumblr, I don't know the story.
Man, you said Tumblr. I find it a fascinating story because I didn't know that they were actually musicians, and they actually had a single before they met Frank Farian.
Okay.
And Frank Farian had heard a group from Pittsburgh, California. Okay. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And they
the
had
other Pittsburgh, right?
Girl, the other Pittsburgh. Girl, you know it's true. And he brought them in, and he didn't dig their look. And he had already done this with Boney M, but he kept the rapper. And he wanted to redo the song, so he knew someone that knew one of the guys at Milli Vanilli. And they came in, he met him, and he was like, I love these guys. And he signed them. And he gave them an advance of like 5,000 euro, whatever the money was at the time. I think it was marks because they're in Germany. And I forget the language that they both speak, but because they're from different countries. Okay. One's from Martinique, I believe, and the other one, I think, is from Germany. But anyway, they signed the deal, but they didn't know that they were supposed to lip sync. So they get invited to come back to the studio because they're like, okay, well, when are we going to record the song? He goes, oh, no, the song's already recorded. I played it for you. And they're like, we don't want to do this. He goes, well, you have to give me back my money.
Right, you already signed.
Yeah, and they have already. They paid their rent, bought clothes and all that stuff. So they figured it was never going to hit. They're like, hey, we'll do this thing. We'll do this video.
And then we're in, and we can do whatever we want after that.
Nope. And it hit, and Frank. And then they said, well, for this second record, we want to sing. And he goes, I told you guys, don't ever try to fuck me over. They're trying to basically hold him hostage, like, but we're the goods. So if we refuse to do this, then you have to, he was like, no. Yeah. So he outed the whole group.
Damn.
After they won the Oscar.
Crazy.
Or the Grammy. Yeah, it's a
sad story.
He was a, and he did that because he was told as a young man, he was like, I want to sing what was called at the time race music. And they said, you're white. You can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So he did it, but he pitched his voice down for the male parts, pitched his voice up for the female parts, and then had mimes and had a #1 hit with Daddy Cool.
Wow. What did they, when did Billboard change that? It was like wild.
Recently,
like
the recent change?
No, the calling them race records, whatever the chart version was.
Around the time that
I think they changed it to
Elvis
R&B.
is a rock guy and not an R&B guy. So when is that?
Right.
The 50s?
Yeah,
it's officially.
But well, they used rhythm and blues to replace it, and I believe you're right. It's probably the 50s. So yeah, but it's like one of those things where it's like, oh well, you're just throwing it out there. Well, there's a great story behind country and western too, whereas country music being predominantly songs of the American Southeast, whereas Western music, like more the Bakersfield sound and whatnot, was originating in a different area with different stylistic tropes, and then they just slammed together country and Western. There's a genre. But it's like, wow, it's crazy to think about. It's like, no, they just somebody making. We only can have one. We can't have two of these. So,
But that's the thing. You have to tell people, like, you understand that all this stuff is made up.
it's completely made up. It's completely arbitrary. It's like leader cards at a record store. It's Rastabilly Skank. Huh? What? Okay.
Yeah, but this is where you're going to buy.
Sure.
Right? That's all we know. It's easier to market to you this way. We can't just put it
It's
out
in this
as
leader
music.
card. Yeah, exactly.
It's too
we
generic.
can make it a hit on this chart, and it'll barely make a blip on this other one. Okay, great.
It feels like that's also part of the discussion too. Is that people, I think, believe that these genres are also natural. And
Well, because there's a lot of PR that goes into place, and it's been what you don't know, like that kind of fear of missing out. They're like, oh yeah, of course. Well, that's the country and western chart. That's the R&B chart. Okay, yeah, but like you know what it was before that, right? Hey, and it's it all goes back to those great payola had a large factor into these conversations. That this is it's all graft. But the thing is, the graft will only take you so far. If the goods aren't there, then it's wasted money and wasted payoffs. But if there is something there, and I think it's worth mentioning that maybe not in this atomized world we live in, but for most bands, acts, artists, there's something there. Now the question is whether it's going to be something that strikes a larger chord. Not everything should aspire to that, and that's where people limit themselves now. Where it's like, there's never been a better time to make music for you and your friends. Now, if you want anything beyond that, it's pretty bad, man. But if you're doing it for personal fulfillment, hey, you're stoked. It's great. But that isn't to say that should be anyone's. That should be your only raison d'etre. And if you're coming up in this world, it's incumbent upon yourself to realize that so many of these things are that we think of as industry maxims and industry benchmarks and things like those were made up. They were just made up. And people just kept saying them over and over and over again, and like they kept talking. They quantified it, and they it's made up. It's all imaginary.
kind of like an idea that always kind of rubs me. I don't want to say the wrong way, but this idea that only good things happen in youth. I'm like,
of course, as a aging rocker, I'm pissed off at that. Where it's like, I'm so much better now than I was back then. But yeah, the idea, because again, it was in the 50s especially, it was youth music, and then that got transferred to whatever punk was, and metal, that's youth music, and it's like no, not necessarily. But we never changed the lexicon for that in the same way that we've never treated it like work. It's always got to be fun. It's always, and again, if you're doing it right, it can be both. It can be both fun and work. But the idea that it has to be youth music is absurd, completely absurd. Unless you're talking about the pop world, which goes by its own set of metrics and changes that have their own inscrutable logic that change with the middle management at said corporations, which is to say all the time. And I think it's worth noting with all of that. That the freedom of the internet, such as it is for now, is that you don't have to participate in any of it, and that's what because it used to be going online was I'm going to go online and then do my other and do the things there and then go offline and do other things, and now it's like the internet's where everyone lives. And the problem there is, we've ceded over all this control to these walled gardens and these inscrutable algorithms that are just they're going to serve their own ends. They're not there to serve you. They're there to profit off of you.
Can I ask you an honest question?
Yeah, lay it on me.
If you had the opportunity to have a PR company, and I don't know if you have one now. I think you're doing all your own PR, right? Most of it.
We've used various PR companies, usually around an album cycle. But that's an album cycle is 3 weeks now. It used to be 3 years, and then it was 3 months. Now it's 3 weeks. It could be 3 days next year, I'm sure. But for a record,
you'll contract it.
Right. And then there's certain benchmarks and goals you're trying to achieve. For me, I'm a good talker. I
Give me some
can
interviews.
engage. Yeah, I'm good. Get me on some shows that like don't know who the hell I am, right? And that works well. That's great. Sometimes it's like placements. Written reviews are still a thing. Does anybody care about them? Not really. And there's an efficacy for it, but it really comes down to like who has the contacts. Who has the contacts that can get you into conversations you weren't in before, and get you into rooms that they didn't know who you were before. And that is that is September 13th, I believe, if I remember correctly. Zora Darling. So, but man, half the time it's like this just feels like setting money on fire too, because
There's no guarantees.
Because there's no guarantee, especially for someone like myself that like I do my thing. I'm like a tugboat. I like do my thing, and there's an audience for it. I'm very thankful for, and it does grow. But it's one of those things where there's not some huge hook that's going to keep people engaged. Like I think about the Engine de Poutine, like the French Canadian band, right? Who are selling like arenas suddenly, all based on that. This KEXP like live footage, and they were like, "Oh wow, this is crazy, man!" I don't want to sound reductive. I've played with a million bands that sound like that.
Yeah,
but they have the costumes, and like people are like, "Wow, what's this?" And for whatever reason, that struck a chord. Cool. Well, that's a great example of skill meeting luck, and that's wonderful. Is it reproducible? Hell no, it's not. Sometimes I'll get people that are jealous of my quote unquote music career, and it's like, well, how did I get here? You would have to literally be me. And like do all the things that I did, for good or for ill, and grow up the way I grew up. Like it's not reproducible. Like I wouldn't wish it on enemy, first of all. But people see the results. They don't see the they don't see what it takes to get there. So when they see like, oh, why does Conan get to go out on this tour with Red Cross and blah blah blah? Because I did the work, bitch. That's why.
those are cats I try to stay away from. But I mean,
and like good songs will get you so far.
You know what I mean? It's reductive. It's a reductive way to look at you because it's like, well, that should be me, and I'm like, well, man,
run your own race.
Yeah,
you know what? That's really what it comes down to.
I've gotten that before, of course, but
of course, anytime anything that isn't abject failure, someone will be jealous of you. Where I'm like, wow, you're saying this gutter is a nicer gutter than the one you're hanging out in? I mean, like, what are we doing here?
If you have any sort of respect whatsoever, or if some artist that person idolizes digs you and is taking you on tour, then and you don't have a big fan base or whatever, then you're a piece of shit in certain people's eyes. I get that.
And that's the culture that we are breeding now, which is to say that, and it also holds true with like influencers and like that whole culture and whatnot, where everybody is being forced in this position of having to be creative. Not everybody is creative, nor should they try to be. And for some reason, we've now decided that everyone needs to have a reaction or a hot take to everything, and B, be creative in some fashion capacity or a variety of whatever in whatever format these walled gardens and corporate entities want us to be. Both of these are not one size fits all. to put it bluntly. And I'm not even saying like, oh, these people shouldn't do it or these people should or whatever. I'm just saying that like the pressure to feel like you should is artificially created in the same way that, the rhythm and blues charts and the country and western charts are. These are abstract concepts that are just repeated ad nauseum until we treat them as if they are etched in stone on tablets coming down from the mountain, It's like, no, not at all.
But back to the PR question.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I appreciate it.
Let's dig a little deeper. If you had the access to Geese's PR company, who was able to, reach out and create these internet people sharing the song over and over again, and then people are hearing the song. Basically, you're getting what you want. You're getting the music out there in a way where people are going to hear it.
But would it be one for one? Because the things what people think of, it's like the cheat code. This is the contra code. I'm gonna put in the contra code and get unlimited lives. No, man, that's not how it works. It worked for them. I've had the same PR person as Mike Patton and Faith No More. What did it mean? Nothing. Really? I mean, it's got us I guess a couple
features
pieces of coverage we wouldn't have had before, where people like, it's a long band name. Oh well, moving on. it's not. People like to look at it like I'm just slotting myself into this scenario, but like they're. And like a PR person could probably expound upon this better, but it's not a 1-for-1 situation.
It's never.
And the thing is, there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power and there's a lot of hope in that being the case, because that means you can be the you of what you do. And if more artists did that, I think first of all they'd be happier and probably more successful. Like. Look at the Angie and the Poutine band. Like, I don't even know how to say that name. It's
I don't know how to say it.
that band could not be more French Canadian if it came with a side of poutine, frankly. But those are guys that clearly, we're just doing their thing. We're making our, crazy bleepy bloopy microtonal music, and we got these goof ass costumes, and like we're aliens from. All right, whatever, great, good on you. But they're playing to like 7 people on a Tuesday. And then suddenly, like, the world opens up for them. Well, they managed to meet a moment in a way that it was the exact kind of, like, I hate to phrase it this way because it sounds reductive, but kind of zaniness of, like, wow, what's this? Where it's like, who knows, like, who Trump was bombing today or, what misery is happening. It was like, these guys are no joke as musicians, but, like, look at this, like, oh, man, check these guys out, polka dot madness, And they met the moment in a very specific way. Well, the moment's going to change, though. And it's always going to change. And if you sit there trying to chase it, first of all, that looks desperate. And nobody likes desperation. That goes back to what you're saying about authenticity, right? Nobody wants a try hard. Rarely does that work out. But if you just stay true to your own compass and your own art and make the stuff that you like and it connects with you, it's craft can meet opportunity sometimes. All the time? No. Not even most of the time.
But
not even some of the time.
But
every once in a while.
But do you think, though, back to the Angie Poutine, we're just going to call you Angie Poutine. That's who you are. That's who it is. Fuck it. I felt
they can cry themselves to sleep on their gigantic polka dotted pillows.
I think
made of money. Made of money is what they're
right.
Made
Yeah, with no crew is probably making decent money.
Good for them. Great.
And I don't hate them. I don't care enough about them to hate them.
I mean, respect, honestly. Like, great. That's awesome.
But I saw someone had outed who they were. He found out who they were. He made this video showing exactly who they were.
Let me guess. They were just some guys.
There were 2 dudes.
Yeah, just 2 dudes.
Like you said, French-Canadian dudes.
Some
they were
French-Canadian
playing kind of
dudes.
the jam band scene.
What a shocker. Yeah.
And I think...
You tell me those guys were jamming? No way.
They made the very similar kinds of music before. It wasn't that different. But there's something that you said about the moment, and there's these moments that we see with virality in the YouTube space as well. Like, think about a Hawk Tua. Like, why does that young lady resonate when there's so many people that were doing the same thing? They still do the thing. They go to a bar in a busy town where young people are coming out drunk, and they ask them crazy sex questions.
They say some stupid stuff, and
they get stupid answers.
Yeah.
Why did she resonate and not all the other people that were giving stupid answers? I think there was something that people thought that was authentic in her. I think the way she looked, because she wasn't really hot, right?
It's just like
internet way of being hot.
Right. It's not a carefully curated look. She's just some drunk chick that
she's just some drunk chick,
stupid shit, and then suddenly she's got a talk show and a cryptocurrency, and like, what are we doing? Okay,
but then her moment in the sun. Back to your point about,
and it's funny, like, and
if you don't, your moment in the sun is going to be very short lived, and once those people go, there's something more interesting. I'm back to watching the real traditionally attractive hot people suck real dicks. And,
look, I like the authentic dicks that are being sucked rather than these photoshopped.
Don't figuratively tell me about sucking a dick. I want to see somebody just going ham on some dicks.
Getting away from this very vulgar line of conversation, look at a band like Wet Leg, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that was the last band before Geese. Everyone's like, oh, Wet Leg. Oh, well, they're good though. And okay. And I'm like, oh, Wet Leg. And I listened to it. I was like, whatever, fine.
I've heard it before.
Yeah, this sounds like many bands that I've heard before. It's fine. Like, if I played on a bill with them, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's all right. Probably didn't.
Yeah. Oh,
whatever. Yeah, but it's like
nice crop top,
okay.
sir. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But it's also like, oh, but they have a really attractive front woman that like, it's like, oh, okay, so like then means that like every guy will be pushed an image of this band playing because like, the singer's hot. Okay. And that's, I hate to reduce it in gender terms, but it is like that sex sells optimism aspect of things. I mean, why is like Haley from Paramore? People are like still talking about Paramore after all this time, and it's like, well, one of the reasons why, she's a great front woman.
Yes.
Whatever I feel about the music, which is I think it's fine. She's an amazing front person and connects with her audience, and also happens to be incredibly attractive. Great. Sounds good. But it's not like, someone's saying that's the only reason why people care about that band is missing the point of it. Is it like, no, it has to be all those things put together. In the chat, somebody mentioned Idols, who were, when they very kind of first came on the larger scene, Dave Grohl started taking them out, Joy is an Act of Resistance, so on and so on. They were effectively dismissed in a salty old dude noise rock forum that I'm of as woke McCluskey.
Wow.
Which I was like, wow, that's effed up, but it's like, yeah, not wrong. I mean, I was, when I heard that record, I was like, oh, okay. So I agree with all the political statements being made in this music, but it's like, that's pretty nuanceless. I mean, my favorite band's is Sparks. They're like, all nuance. But then I saw them live, and it was like filled with like, early 20-something kids, they were just like, yeah, punch the fascists, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, I was thinking about it from the terms of my lived experience, having gone through, remember the EFF and like, digital rights foundations and fights of yore, where it's like, no, I think there's an appetite, a strong appetite to have anthems that are very much like this. I believe this. It is, boom, punch in the face. Here it is. And that was something where I sort of modified okay, well, I think I get why they're striking a chord. But it's also like one of the guitarists, his chief ability seems to be running around in his underwear. The other guitarist does all the work. That one says the underwear guitarist is just like being the show. And I'm like, okay.
Also, back to your thing about timing. If that band comes out in 2008, nobody gives a shit.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
You come out in like the BLM moment, the Trump moment, the Me Too moment. There's a lot of things happening. Joy as an act of resistance was a actual ideology that we were going to defeat Donald Trump with joy.
That's right.
And if remember that song, that godforsaken song?
Oh my God, I do. Yes.
Lizzo.
And if that record come out a little bit later, maybe they wouldn't have connected in that same way, or maybe they would have, because they are a cracking band. They put out way too many records. It's like you're not Creedence Clearwater Revival. It's fine. You can wait a couple years. You could never put out a record again, and people would still come see you play. Like, you don't need to put out a record every year. It ain't like that. You should put a little more work into it. Peace and love in my heart. But like but again, that's another example of. They're meeting the moment, right? And they're meeting the moment in a way where the craft is already there. And whether they were or were not ripping off McCluskey at the time, they were. To great effect. It's also like other bands are allowed to do that, And if you ask McCluskey, and they'd be more erudite about it than I am, because I'm lucky enough that, Falco's a friend. But, they're just in their way referencing like, Shellac, Jesus Lizard, Pixies. Like they were putting together these aggressive functions with these huge hooks. And that was, when they were first around, that was for a certain specific audience. And then the audience for that grew and grew and grew. That when they came back, it was huge, and for good reason, because it always was great. But did it meet the moment then? Not really. Because they had their successes, and they were every band's favorite band, but they struggled when the first time they came to the U.S. And I should know because I was there, because it was like if you were never going to make a living catering to my sensibilities in that way, right? But like the culture came back around and kind of caught up with them, and same way Mission of Burma, same way, right? And, that's another example of like sometimes stuff just. It's too ahead of its time or whatever, and people get like they're mystified by this. Like if you have a slightest sense of creative history, you wouldn't be.
Do you think with the articles that surrounded around geese, and then now the bigger conversation, which is like the dead internet. And I think all this does kind of work
Right, sure.
in tandem, right? Everything that you think you like, you don't like. And I found that interesting because I was like, does anyone not remember the radio?
I mean, yeah, I mean, so we have different challenges now than we had 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. But the idea also that like, oh, well, these are all new challenges no one has ever dealt with. No, man, it's exactly the same stuff. It's just the delivery system is different. And again, people don't like being told this, but you have choice with how or if you engage with this stuff. And it's irritating to me. Like the idea of somebody just like keeping, all right, let's say you use Spotify, the objective worst of all the streaming platforms, and you have like the recommend me like stuff feature turned on. Why would you ever have that on? Because what you're doing is you're feeding the algorithm. You're causing the ruination of all that's good. Why would you have that when there's so many people that will actually recommend you new music that like oh well, hey, if you like Idols, you like McCluskey. Oh really? Wow, thanks algorithm, appreciate that, because you're trying to just play whatever the last thing sounded like, and that's what the algorithm wants you to do. Whereas there are people, and I should know, I am one, that are music obsessives that dig for new crazy stuff and that be like, yeah, but if you're an art star, because it doesn't sound like Idols, it doesn't sound like McCluskey, it sounds like something entirely different, but they're amazing, they're wonderful. Why would you let the algorithm do it? And the only answer is because, okay, we don't elevate our in Days of Yore, the record store employees, right? We don't elevate those voices in the same way and don't value them because there's money in that not happening.
I mean,
I'll
go in defense of the person that has recommend me on and say, first of all, you're assuming that everybody lives in your friend world, and
maybe you don't know anyone that is into music the way you are too. I mean, that's entirely possible.
Not even doing like if you just listen to, I don't know, whatever genre of music you dig, and all your friends probably listen to whatever's hot on whatever system tells them it's hot, and you want to hear something new, you don't even know where to get new stuff. And if you're of a certain age, right, we have to also take that into consideration. If you're
maybe not clued in, it's not a youth culture thing. Sure, no, I get what you're saying.
Let's say this: if you're our age, we grew up where you had record store guy, you had maybe you just went to shows. And then bigger than that, you had this thing called the radio. You had MTV. You had college radio. You had all these different ways to hear music that you had never heard before. That it's not that easy. And there's people of a certain age. It's like, I don't want to work.
Yeah. I mean that's the answer right there. Is that I don't want to put any work into it. But the thing is, these communities and these voices and these people putting in that work, the methodologies, those are all available. It's just the question of if you know where and how to engage and if you choose to do that. Because and that's the difference I feel like between like Gen Z and us, which is like we still remember it's like, no, we had to go to like a blog. We had to go like find like a zip file and then hopefully there's a virus in this, like whereas like, and before that it was like I had to rip this CD, I'm going to get it from the library. I got to return if I don't get a late fee, dub a tape. Yeah, exactly. And so you had to put, there's more sweat equity into trying something new out rather than just like, oh yeah, but boop, beep, boop, boop, cool. There's discography. Okay. Yeah. I like some of that. Moving on. And so the valuation of music itself is different. But that said, you still have people that are going to be passionately advocating for the stuff that they love. And if you put the effort into finding those people that like match your taste or sensibilities, or like, hey, maybe this person's got like a 20% hit ratio for me, but still, that 1 out of 5 kicks ass. I mean, that's gonna mean more than just shameless genre purveyance. Like for instance, Greg Picciotto, right, from Dillinger Escape Plan and so many other bands.
Better Lovers.
Stuff with, Better Lovers. I was trying. I was like something Dramatic Lovers. I was like mentally Rolodexing the other word. Thank you. He put out really cool solo record a couple years ago. He was on Protonic. Yeah.
Black Queen.
It wasn't Black Queen. It was under his own name. But like he had songs that were heavy, that were more like kind of Dillinger-esque. And it's almost like, this sounds like a badass shoegaze song. This is like an indie pop song. He was just doing whatever he wanted to do. But the back end of Spotify was like, okay, we'll put him here in this category. He's only going to be recommended to like these types of fans, which of course is the exact opposite of what you're looking for if you're making that kind of record. That's what these corporate contrivances are going to do always, because that's what's easiest. So that's what leads to, I kid you not, man, we played with these bands that unironically call themselves grunge, where it's like, wow, that was like a term of derision when I was growing up. Like nobody would ever willingly accept that genre tag on it, but they love it. And they listen to Nirvana and Mudhoney and Soundgarden and like Alice in Chains and like even like some bizarre like 2000s kind of like copy of a copy of a copy of that, so POD or something, where it's like, oh my god, that's endless vomit emoji. But they call themselves grunge bands because that's what they associate with. Like they'll put on Instagram filters that are like VHS style, like the VHS filter. I'm like, all right, I remember when everything just looked like that, but okay, it's fine, I guess. And that's part of their identity, and that's how they set themselves apart from others that are not doing that. And that can be interesting because you could have something that can meet the moment there as well, where it's just an aesthetic. It's a vibe. People love talking about vibes, and it's like, well, I mean,
full of vibes,
yeah, like what is Massive Attack and Portishead and whatnot if not vibes? It's like, yeah, that was. I mean, would those bands be as? Would those bands be as well if they weren't meeting the moment of that that kind of late '90s feeling? I don't know. Well, they're great, so one would imagine they would, but they probably wouldn't have had that larger kind of success that
like that music for me got me off my ass. That was one of the first times I remember hearing something and stopping in my tracks and turning around.
What's that?
What is this? This is the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
But I get why people go, oh, it's vibe, because music has become the background. And you hate sounding like an old person yelling at trains, but it really is the background noise to people's lives. I was telling a friend who's much younger than us. We were having this conversation that you and I are having now, and not in a disparaging way to say that young people are worse or whatnot, I'm better. It's not in that way at all. It's just an explanation of what my life was like. And as 16-year-olds, a friend and I, there was a zine that was at Leopold's. You came to the day when Leopold's was still around.
Oh, yeah. I worked next door to it. I worked at Tower Records next door to Leopold's.
So
the fourth best record store out of 4.
Well, so you remember Leopold's like holy ground for a lot so musicians. And so Leopold's had this there's a group of rappers that are now called the Living Legends, and they created this zine that we'd never seen before in the hip hop world. And they would write these little reviews and articles about where the dope shows were and where you would go to see like the dopest rappers or whatever. And so they talked about this record store in San Francisco on the Haight. And me and my buddy who comes on the show every so often, Coach Will, took a BART and bus trip out on the Haight to go to this record store because we wanted to be a part of this cipher that we had read about. And my buddy responded to that. He goes, I don't know anyone that would do that now. He's like,
they would need to
go on, like, take that effort, because you could just do so much online and at home now. Like that can be a big change.
So the counterpoint to that is that there are people that will. Not those steps exactly, but put that level of effort into it. But are they the majority? No, they are not. Absolutely not. But there are people that care that much, that they engage so deeply that much. And the tactile, the non-online aspect of it is alluring in and of itself as a vibe, if you will. And that is interesting because, think pieces on the New York Times on that. And if they do, they'll get it wrong like they always do, but that's fine. I mean, and that's also like with the, like you see one of these articles now and again about how kids are not doing social media. Well, can you blame them? It's like, oh, they're doing, Discord groups, or they're doing text messages.
They're zines.
Or whatever, whatever. They're bringing back old school zines. They're not doing anything on the computer at all. You know what? Good for them.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same, because I have done the same thing. People don't believe me when I say I don't doom scroll. I'm like, no, I literally don't. Like it's a fight Some of these platforms are like, no, I just would like to keep up with the people I follow. No, that's illegal. You can't do that anymore. It's like, here's what Leg's up to. All right, great, good for them. I don't
Sure you
care
don't know about some
that.
drama?
Yeah. Is that? Oh, do you hear about the latest? No, I don't care about that. I'm not here to be entertained. I'm here to use the internet as a form of connection and a form of communication for me, despite the pivot many times over for it to be everything. It's not that. Well, you can't change algorithms, and you can't change what these corporate walled gardens and their paymasters want out of them, but you can choose how you engage with it. I don't go on X the Everything app anymore. I haven't in a long time. Technically speaking, I have an account. I turned it into a band account. It's honestly just keep up with Japanese friends and fans because it's huge over there. And like in a way that like I'm like you're acting like this is still 2014. It's crazy that you. All right, fine, but I don't scroll it. I wouldn't dare. I know it would just make me mad. Like why would I do something that's gonna make me mad?
I mean, I talk about this on the show all the time. I changed my Twitter algorithm to be majority music. So if you ever see me tweet something, it's like, look, it's, fucking Judas Priest from 1978,
Right. And so the answer is, oh, well, you can train your algorithm to ... Cool. I don't want to do that. So I don't engage with the platforms. I just, and that's me. I'm the equivalent of somebody writing a manifesto in the woods, apparently. But, no shade to anyone who does do that. I don't support algorithmic social media any more than I absolutely have to. It's fine. It's literally a personal choice. I don't even think it's going to make a difference, but it's what saves my sanity. Because if I do, it makes me sadder. It makes me angrier. It makes me a rotten person. All the things I don't like most about my personality come to the forefront when I'm engaging with social media as it is designed. And I think that's not a bug, that's a feature, as they used to say. It's a different conversation than what we're having now.
Yeah. Getting back to the kind of like the whole Psyop thing, I feel like, and I mentioned this in the introduction, another thing that we haven't really spent too much time on, and I know we've been talking for a little over an hour, I don't want to keep you on a Friday night. Another thing we haven't spent too much time on is that the big difference, in my opinion, I don't know if you feel the same way, is that there is an ecosystem in place that just shits on stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Quote, critique. Everybody's a critic now. If you can't play it, you can critique it.
Yes. And the thing is, negative anything goes 40 times faster than something positive. Always. 100% of the time. I could give personal examples about that. People will engage with, the worst news possible or like slagging someone off or whatever in a way that there should be like, here's the thing I'm excited about, 2 likes, 15 views. It's like, it's a real piece of crap. It's Billy Corgan, 40,000 views. And both those things can be true. But it's like that's the culture that it's that negative engagement structure that is endemic to these platforms. Like this is not an accident, but it's in that same way of like if the Geese PR company, who I'm sure like will never have to work again, or biggest PR company ever, if they worked the last Secret Friends record, wouldn't have the same result. And it wouldn't. But that band's been like they've been a band for a while. They've had their other records. And when nobody wants to look at what goes into the positive result, and everyone wants to have like the Midas touch on things. Well, sorry, that isn't anything that works. Your only methodology for that is non-constructive. You have to try to tear something down. Then it'd be like one of these people. It's like, here's my hot take on Kanye. Great, can't wait to not watch or listen to that. It sounds, I don't care. It's not for me. But it's for lots of people because that's what we've trained people to engage with. And you have been trained.
Yes.
And if you think that's not true, boy, have I got news for you. You absolutely have. And recognizing that is the case is the first step towards subverting that indoctrination. And realize that you are being played, because if you're not paying for a product, you are the product. Period.
I mean, started
Sometimes
the
both.
album show, right? The album review show was to be the opposite of a lot of people that we knew that did like, let's shit on this record shows and let's go, hey, there's a year where there's some awesome stuff that comes out in this year.
Right.
And
Let's talk about how Brian Eno, changed ambient this time, and at the same time Bowie was doing this. Okay, great, and Soundgarden made this record that it really should have been 2 records, but it was one because of that CDs were really long, and everyone would cram every available minute and second of music in there because it had never been available in the past. And those kinds of things where it ties into the music history. And I love doing that, guys. I mean,
that's discovery,
as you know.
for me. I'll be honest with you, dude. That's discovery for me because putting together those playlists of like one song from everything that got released that year,
and you'll be like,
always,
what the hell is this? Yeah,
this is
something. Yeah, right.
I never heard this record. Holy shit! And also, look, I will never stop saying this. I did not have a lot of money growing up. I did not have. All my friends didn't listen to all the things that I wanted to listen to, and now I have the history of recorded music in my phone. So I love going back and listening to things I never had the ability to listen to 40 years ago.
Well, and there's still the ability to be blown away by something where, wow, how did I not know? Dude, can I tell you? I finally listened to Pentagram because I just assumed. I think they're freaking great, but I'm like.
That guy's a horrible beast.
Oh, he's a mess. He's a messy human being. I saw that documentary. Oof. I assumed they were. He's sitting there smoking crack, talking about but I just assumed they were black metal based on the name, and I don't know why I felt that way, but I was like, oh no, they're it's like Black Sabbath, Sir Lord Baltimore, like Groundhogs, like this is extremely my thing, and like I listened to it, I was like, this is badass. Like how many years have I heard that name? That dude like became a meme last year, and it still wasn't enough to make me listen to it. Yeah. Where
out of his mind.
to be fair, he looks like a crazy wizard or something, right? Yeah. It is kind of wild, but like whatever. I make these end of year lists for Protonic that are I struggle to keep it to like under 30 records that I'm excited to share with people, and whatever. I was like, I bet that's black metal. I don't like black metal. Based on nothing.
I give you all the. I want to say this though. I give you all the props in the world. There's a handful of people that I respect the fact that they constantly are out there listening to new music. Again, there's albums that I've totally forgot about. Recently, there's a band that I used to know, and one of the members was on the show some months ago, Under Oath. And they had a 20-year. To me, they're kids, but they're not. They're in their 40s now.
Oh yeah.
But, they had a 20-year thing for one of their records, and that's when I met them when they were on the tour for this album. And they did something that I haven't seen a band do. Maybe you've seen this. They had their gear from that record, and they had an art gallery that they rented out in their native Tampa, where they're from. And they're like, for anyone that digs us, we're having a free thing for the fans to launch this tour that we're doing in our van. And we're going to be here hanging out with you. And you can come, look at the memorabilia of this era when we were touring. And I was like, you just made those fans for life.
Oh, absolutely. Because that's cool, man. Because that's like, especially if you have a deep connection to it, it's like, hell yeah. You got to understand. I mean, speaking of Tampa, I played there with Red Cross. Like being on tour with those guys was eye-opening because these are guys that like they were around and doing it like before grunge. You had like Guns N' Roses wanting to open for them. They were around doing it as kids, and so the connection they have with their fans and like how much it means to them is like so interesting in a way that we don't often. I mean, if you see the Red Cross documentary, you'll get it. But it's like for most people, it's like, oh yeah, I think I know who that is, right? They had that Annie's Gone song, right, with the art in the art gallery. They kind of look like hot chicks. It's like, yeah, okay. So, those are attractive young men, especially Jeff McDonald. He was very androgynous looking back then. But I think that's notable because. I mean, that doesn't limit it to any genre. And by the way, I should have slagged off black metal. I should say there's not a lot of things to my personal sensibility in that genre, which I find to be a very conservative genre of music. But there's good black metal. The one thing working at a record store taught me is there's something good in damn near every genre. Like if you're willing to look hard enough. But you got to figure out who your tastemakers are for that. And I hate to use that phrase, but I just don't have much time on this earth left.
I think it's an apt phrase.
it's why I bust my ass every year with these music lists I make, and I do like these are my favorite records of the year. Here's the reasons why, and I've had people be like, hey, I know. I didn't know about plosives before you mentioned something. I was like, yeah, because they got the most forgettable name ever. But it's like, yeah, it's the new John Reese. It's basically Hot Snakes with Rob Crow, basically. It's the drummer for Rock 'em the Crypt. But it's even people that love those bands are like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know why. Why? I don't know. He's legendary to the people that he's legendary to, but people just don't find out about anything in traditional methods anymore. And that goes back to the larger question of, I guess I was thinking today, I was like, wow, I bet if I just full on slag someone off,
Mm-hmm.
on a post, just opened it up. First of all, I'm very devastating and effective with my words, as anyone around me and to see me when I'm mad knows. It would be that would be the best thing PR-wise I could do for the band. But I don't want to win that way.
You can't stop.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
stop.
and then you're the guy that's talking that trash. You're Quincy, right? A bunch of people didn't care about Quincy Jones until he was talking that trash about this one and that one. It's well, Quincy Jones is this genius musician who behind all these classic records and done all these things, but you just want to hear him talk trash. To be fair, I did too. I was like, oh yeah, dish it, Quincy, let's go. That
Which is
documentary
crazy
rules,
because
by the way.
he's a guy. Quincy Jones is a guy that, to me, I wish I could have been in those rooms. If people if you had a time machine, what would you do? It's I don't know, maybe go back and hear how Off the Wall and Thriller were put together.
Let's get Eddie Van Halen in here. Oh yeah. Put him in the room. Great. Okay.
When you think about what a producer really is, and Quincy Jones has musical ability, and it's not so much he's using his musical ability, he's using his management ability. Mm-hmm. I was watching an interview with the people that literally ran the studio when Michael was doing From Off the Wall to Bad, mm-hmm. right? And they said once Quincy left, that's when it was hard to get paid. And you never think about it from that perspective. Quincy Jones he's not going, turn this up. No, it's making sure the musicians that come in get paid.
Everyone's happy.
Musicians come in and happy.
Yeah.
They can't wait to create.
Yeah. They're in a mindset that's going to create results that are advantageous to creativity. Rather than sitting there worried about, man, I got to pay this power bill. They're going to shut me off.
Yeah, they were saying Michael would come in and
hey, better pay me off from this, boy. I got to pay the power bill.
You're like Michael, you owe us literally $1 million, and he'd be like, what? They're like, no, we're locking the door until we get our $1 million, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't lock out a whole building. So there's. When we think about the industry as a whole, making an album as a whole, I think a lot of the 80s stuff, especially even the behind the music stuff, is there's a dudes in a room and they're creating. And it's sometimes it's a bunch of paid musicians in a room.
Yeah, sometimes it's a homie from Toto, right? He's surprised how much that dude is on every record in the 80s. It's wild.
Steve Lukather. Yeah, Steve Lukather played on so many records. And, again, luckily, I've been able to have some of those people. One of those people.
Bless these reins. I'm about to bless this bank account with all these checks I'm cashing.
Well, if you hear him talk about it, this is what he says, Conan, that kind of fucked me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were arranging songs as well.
Oh, yeah.
And not just coming in and playing parts because there were charts there for us. Sometimes there weren't even charts there. We're putting songs together. And he goes, we just got day rate.
Yeah.
So he goes, there's most of those albums I didn't get residuals for. He goes, I didn't get any residuals from Thriller.
Yep.
And you're like, fuck.
Damn.
Yeah. And that's a different industry now. And
it is, yeah.
The industry, kind of back to the greater theme of maybe this lefty show is the industry is going to constantly find cheaper ways to make product. And now
they're there to exploit the talent. Or now, who needs the talent at all? We'll just use AI. Well, it isn't there yet, but they're working as hard as they can to be like, oh, we don't have to have artists anymore.
Than you think,
I know,
my friend. It's not there for everything. Look, it's not going to make a Conan Neutron record because any Conan Neutron record is going to sound like 4 records before the one that you are on
exactly.
Now.
And that's so your best success as an artist, because I just have to, without any of these like the bleakest, most Philip K. Dick outcome ever, is to say that you'll never be able to replicate the journey, foibles, and missteps in some cases of an actual artist that is true to themselves. Never. It will never happen. It may be able to simulate. You may be able to crank out a fake ass Neil Young record that sounds exactly like freaking After the Gold Rush or Harvest Moon or something. But like, it's not going to be Neil Young, and it won't feel the same. And now, is that going to matter to people? I don't know. I mean, I see a lot of people sharing these AI punk rock flyers where it's like, you don't think this looks like dog shit? Because this looks like dog shit, dude.
Can I ask you an old guy question, though?
Yeah, lay it on me.
I was having this conversation with Buddy. Same one.
To be fair, we're about the same age. Yeah.
No, I said old guy. I'm saying old guy as in fellow old guy.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I believe I'm older than you by like 6 months.
Something like
4
that.
months. 4 months. It was 4 months.
I was gonna say 6 is even charitable. Yeah.
It was 4 months difference. So a buddy, I was telling a buddy, actually, I was like, I think you grew up in a better era because you had your own cartoon channel and this and that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we got to talk about as we got deeper in this conversation, I was like, when you and I were growing up, when you're 5 or 6 years old, by the time 11 or 12 hits, sometimes you grow out of things, right?
Yeah.
And then also shows were kind of off the air for like G.I. Joe was over by the time we're 11 or 12 years old. But there were things that we really dug, Star Wars, superheroes,
Transformers, whatever.
Those things
comic
ended,
books, yeah.
Right? Those things ended for us. And we had to go out and find our own fun and the new thing that was going to, turn us on, which for both of us was loud guitars, right? And it's interesting to see that those things that we had that ended, like Star Wars ended after Return of the Jedi.
Right. And there was and they tried to remember those Ewok TV movies.
It wasn't the same.
Woo, boy.
You can't look me in the eye and tell me you weren't disappointed. You were like, where's the Space Wizards? This shit is not the same.
I was like, something about this is not not hitting the same. I don't know what it is.
This, it's not the same thing. And so it ended. And you look at there's a group of people that Star Wars never ended for them. Marvel never ends for them. Nothing ends for them.
Well, because and that goes back to the capitalistic approach of things, of just, why would you let things end if we're making money? And that's I mean, I think England has it better because they have these series that end. They go a certain amount of time, then they end. That's it, and then we're gonna do something else now. It's same creative team or different creative team with this one. By the way, I said Harvest Moon. I meant Harvest. I'm sorry, that's very contentious in the comments. But like, Harvest Moon is the '90s record. Harvest is the '70s record. Yeah. Look, we regret the error. I'm the ombudsman of rock and roll, was determined. So we regret the error.
But it's interesting. It's like, okay, well, what happens to a generation of people that grow up where you're kind of going to always get this stuff, and it's going to be given to you. You're not going to have to look for it,
and it's always fed to you, right? Because think about like X-Men '97, right? They have this new series where it's like picking up, like, it picks up all the continuity of the X-Men series, but they actually raise the stakes writing wise. So it's not just a nostalgia trip. It's like, oh no, they actually have done something new with it and turned it around in an interesting way to make shorter form of these like larger, multi issue stories and things along those lines, and reduce them down to be like a really kick-ass cartoon episode that's clearly made for like people that watched it when they were a kid. And maybe other people are engaging with as well, but like, you have the cultural signifiers of that type of animation, even the theme song, but you're moving it forward in that same way that Cobra Kai was sort of like, hey, what, Johnny Lawrence is a legal kick, like what it's like. And Cobra Kai stuck around at least 2 seasons too long, but I love the
first 2 seasons. I dug it. I dug the hell out of it. Yeah.
It was so good in a way that I hate that, hey, let's make the villain the hero, like the wickidification of culture. I despise it. Because it's lazy. But in this case, it was like, it's kind of awesome. He's a dirtbag. It didn't turn out so great for him, like in life, and like even like your titular character is running a car dealership. That's his big success, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, that tracks.
He's like Al Bundy in a way. He's hanging
in
on
a way.
Past. Yeah,
absolutely. And so there's ways to do it that isn't, and this goes back to what you talk about in some like the toy shows, or whatever, about like the weaponization of nostalgia. Yeah. But there's a way to do it that's not predatory. Right, and it's a way where it can honor the original idea and move things forward. But again, it is nice to just leave some things in the past.
I mean, if you look behind me, I don't know if you can see it. I have my daughter bought me some. I have a Cliff Burton action figure. Voltron.
I got. Let's see. Inside, I got Yoda, Boba Fett, Godzilla, King Ghidorah, and the Wolfman.
Yeah, there's these things that we that are marketed towards us now that keep you in a certain era. And I don't want to deviate too much from the original idea of the show as music is Psyop, but part of what we're talking about here is marketing and how it works when it works well. And again, Conan and I grew up in an era where we grew up watching 22-minute commercials, and we got up early to watch 22-minute commercials.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, check it out. Here it is. By the way, get the cereal, get the action figure, get the underoos, get all this. Right? Yeah, exactly. We got it all. What do you need?
and that's it. Still sells to people like us, and we all know that they're 22-minute commercials. This isn't a secret anymore.
Yeah, I had a sticker on my old van that just said "Stay on Target" and had like the guides from Star Wars that was bombing the Death Star. I'm getting another one. I'm getting another one for the new van. You know why? Because I would look at that, I'm like, hell yeah, stay on target.
And does it remind you of? Do you remember the first time you saw the Star Wars video game?
Hell yeah, it does.
With that thing, and
I love that thing. With a vector game. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it's great. But it's also like, nostalgia doesn't have to be, as long as it's like your whole identity. I think there's elements of it that are just like you're enjoying what you enjoy. But I unfortunately think that we used to bitch at our parents doing the same thing, and their parents do the same thing of just like, well, stuff's not as good now as it was back then. That's like, well, okay, but it's also different. Right. And as much as we're like, the 6-7 stuff can F right off. I don't care about it. Like, it's not funny. It's not interesting. It's as annoying to me as Let's Go Brandon, where it's like, that's just stupid. Come up with something smarter. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Toys are better.
Toys are so much. I'm jealous of these kids, man.
I'm jealous of these kids.
These kids have like good as hell toys where it's like, man, some of these like those OG Star Wars figures, they were just like, they put no effort into it.
No articulation.
Forget it. Everyone looks like a mannequin.
The lightsaber was in his arm.
Yeah. It's just like,
it was trash.
They're like, whatever. They'll buy it. We don't care.
G.I. Joes didn't have cool names when they first came out. It was like Soldier John.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, his bandana dude. Man. Okay, great.
Nah, dude. The toys that kids get now are so dope. Yeah. I'm like, you guys got it made. You got a 24-hour channel. You have multiple channels that you can watch whatever the fuck you wanted to watch.
But then also, like, I think about in terms of having access to culture in a different way. Like, I mean, if I had access to the Criterion channel, like years back, and like I would, be sitting there like, watching like French New Wave stuff and like old samurai movies and like westerns and stuff. I would have watched the hell out of that. Yeah. I didn't have access to it. So I don't think that like I had it better because I had to like, go down to the cool video store and like, evade the eyes. Oh, you haven't seen that Kurosawa yet? No, man, I'm watching it now. So leave me alone. Can you give me the damn movie? Like, like it's not just because it was a harder road doesn't mean it's a better road. It just means it was a harder road. And I think that a lot of times, again, so that I'll tie it back to the original topic and the fact that people see the results, they don't see the effort that goes into that. And there are bands that just, whatever, pop out of fully formed from the head of Zeus, where it's like, okay, they're just the industry connections. There they are. For the Strokes, not really what I was listening to at the time, but it's like, okay, the songs were there. The look was there. They struck a chord, so to speak, with people at the time. And now you have people being nostalgic about the Strokes. So it was like, man, people were mad. People were mad when that band came out.
I remember that. People didn't dig them. People did not dig them. Oh.
And in a way that people were not mad at the White Stripes because the White Stripes were in clubs doing it, putting out records and doing the work that like they didn't get that same level of scrutiny. And I'm not saying like one's better than the other, but I am saying that that stuff it doesn't come out of nowhere. Yeah, it's like what they say, overnight success. 10 years in the making or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel, right? When even hearing a band like Geese, and I listened to a little bit of it because I think Bill Cody had showed the SNL performance, and again, I didn't know who they were. Yeah, and the only reason I know who they, and this is why this is that thing too that people don't understand. It's like you understand that this is all part of the promotions team.
Of course,
for you to get mad about this.
Yeah, exactly. So many people, and that was going back to the idols conversation. So many people on Facebook groups that were just mad. I'm mad that why is this what you're listening to instead of Unsane or whatever. I'm like, okay, you're an idiot. like why do you think that's one for one? Because and again, sometimes you have something that breaks big, and it's just like, wow, I can't believe that. I'm still flabbergasted that my homies in Chat Pile, who again open for us in their third show, are as big as they are. But they have changed nothing about what they do other than just to get better. And they are all guys that have been in bands for forever. And like the idea that they just popped out of nowhere for some people, it's like, no, man, those dudes were like doing the same stuff we all do, playing to the same, 40 people if you're lucky on a Tuesday in Wichita or what have you. And, they struck a chord. Mm-hmm. And was the music good? Sure. But there's a lot of music that's good. They struck a chord in a big way, and I'm stoked for them. Not even just because they're personal friends of mine, but because they're great artists that follow their own path and have like forged a new world. Also, they do the thing where they like bring along, friends bands that they want to expose their crowd to, which I'm surprised that more bands don't put that kind of effort into. But then again, if you ever met a band, you won't be that surprised by it. It's like
another thing
that's the F you got mine philosophy.
I mean, do you ever think this too is a big problem with a lot of people is that you're not guaranteed whatever success you think you are owed. You're not guaranteed.
You're guaranteed anything. Yeah, exactly. Well, and people are walking in all entitled. I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe it comes up from coming up working poor, but I don't expect like anything I don't like fight for and like strangulate a motherfucker for. Basically,
I'm not guaranteed anything.
Even then,
I know if you are, you're just not guaranteed that. You don't know what's going to resonate and what's not going to resonate, and then you I think not everybody, but you can end up suffering from Billy Corrigan disease, where like you said earlier, it's never him.
Yeah, the system has failed me again. Okay, maybe system again, huh? All right, is the system in the room with us right now? Yeah, right.
The conspiratorial system that says that the CIA pumped up the numbers, inflated the numbers of rap music to get people to get locked in prison because that's how simple music works.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh, well, you cracked the code there, Heidegger. Figured it out.
It's like, you want to tell me, hey, repeat it slow to yourself.
And
you tell me that.
I'll be right here.
You know what I mean? Because what to me gets disrespectful about the whole Nepo baby and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, if you're Jafar Jackson, you literally come from a line of music royalty that's kind of insane.
Wild, right? There's really not another precedent for that except for the Presleys, really, And it's like,
and then they didn't really do.
And Riley's like, I'm acting, and I'm not gonna go by that name. It's like, okay, right on.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's no one shits on like Carrie Fisher. I've never heard anybody say, "You fuck Carrie Fisher's Eddie Fisher's daughter." Like, no one ever says shit like that. Fuck Rob Reiner.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Nepo baby. No, there's a certain amount of access that you're gonna get to that, and what's sad,
but that gets you in. That gets you in the door. I mean, remember like Tom Hanks's kid's rap career?
Oh, Chad.
Remember that? Yeah.
Well, let's look at the other Hank.
Yeah.
What's the other? Colin Hanks.
Hanks.
That
He
makes
made that.
really
He made that
great
cool
movies.
documentary about
Records.
Tower. Yeah, that was awesome. I watched that on an airplane, which is the perfect way to view that documentary.
Like Colin Hanks. You look at him, you go, yeah, of course you're going to be able to make a pretty good documentary because I'm sure you've been around film for some
The entire
time.
life. Absolutely. Yeah.
And maybe you asked questions when you were around film. And, you know, if you listen to, I watched the interview with Chet. I think it was like one of the Channel 5 interviews. He goes, my dad actually made us work. And I don't know what that means, right? But it's still.
What does that mean? Sure. But it's also, is the music to my sensibility? It is not, I assure you. But like, you know, whatever, it's that's what that dude wants to do. And like, it's not like it's being pushed upon us like that freaking U2 record got put in everyone's device.
By the
back
iPod
when, right?
back in the day.
Yeah,
Or
people
iPhone.
still
Was
mad
it
about that.
iPhone?
Yeah, it was the
iPhone, right?
And getting rid of that was like getting rid of syphilis or something. It stuck around, man. It was
I think I recently got rid of it.
finally after all these years.
Because I was like, why do I have a U? Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, yeah.
But it's, you know, the difference there is, you know, sometimes you have avenues and conduits of power and influence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have that, that will get you in the door. And then it becomes this conversation about the conversation. And then it becomes, you know, reaction. Well, they suck because of, you know, X, Y, and Z. So, you know, they suck because they have a woman. I'm an angry dude on the internet who needs to get laid. You know, okay, great. You know, fair. You know, there's all these reasons, rationale for it, but it'll only get you in the door. And if there's anything there at all, then there's the ability to connect, because that's what any creative person, any artist, like, you know, to be given a larger platform. If you are worth your salt and your craft is there, you will have the ability to connect to a larger audience. What happens after that? Maybe nothing, maybe everything.
Maybe nothing.
Yeah, and you have to be okay with those results or lack thereof, where it's like, what happened? I don't know, not really anything. It was fine. You know, okay, well, then that's your experience with it. And maybe you'll never get an opportunity like that again. I don't know.
Did you ever watch the interview with Willow Smith and Rick Beato?
No.
So Rick Beato is like, Willow Smith is blowing my fucking mind. And when I first heard it, I was like, the chick that has the Whip My Hair song. So
yeah, that's right. Did you ever hear, I don't think he's funny, but Fallon did Neil Young doing it. It was the Neil Young version of that song. Whip my hair back and forth.
that sounds so annoying.
No, it was bad. It was badass, but only in that time. I don't want to give that guy credit, but I was like, all right, he nailed it on that one.
But so Rick Beato is asking her about how she started, because she plays guitar and sings, and she's really good. She's really good.
Sure.
And he goes, well, when you start playing guitar, blah, blah, blah. And this is what she says. And I thought it was kind of funny because she was so transparent with it. And I feel like, oh, of course you are, because you had media training. She goes, well, I have famous and very wealthy parents. And when a person like me says, I want to take guitar lessons, my parents do what rich and famous wealthy parents do. And they get the best guitar teachers that money can buy. And that's who taught me how to play guitar.
Well, but being good on her for just being transparent about it.
Yeah,
Oh no, I just picked it up and started playing. Okay, great. Yeah, wonderful.
No, part of you was like, oh, it's something about it didn't feel right. But then I was like, but what is she supposed to say?
Right. Well, and that's the Violet Grohl of it all, right? Where it's like, okay, now she's, you know, running around and doing, okay, well, good for her. I mean, like, she did like a squirrel bait song where it's like, who the hell is a squirrel bait song? You know, like, that's, you know, great for those dudes. You know, that's awesome for the 5 to 10 people that will look further into it and figure it out. But like, you know, your dad's Dave Grohl. Right, he's like one of the biggest rock bands in the world, arguably one of the greatest living drummers in rock and roll. Even if that's not like what he's doing anymore, it's like the idea of going into music. It seems like that'd be daunting to me, but like also, you know, like whatever, she wants to do it. Well, let her. That's fine, but I don't have to care. You know.
Not everybody's going to be great. Again, there's going to be Jamie Spearses, and
right.
What was the other sister you said?
Fucking
Ashley.
Ashley Simpson. Yes.
Ashley Simpson. You're gonna have those.
Yeah. But it's like, well,
not every Jackson had a fucking record. You know?
Maybe you should have left it to your sister, because that's a woof. Yeah.
Yeah, like not every. But there's this when you even with sports, right? It's like, well, Stephen Curry, his dad was not a Hall of Famer, but he was an all-star basketball
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
So he got to hang out with other Hall of Fame and all-star basketball
Yeah,
players.
it's a psyop, though. You didn't realize that? It's a psyop?
It's a psyop. His dad chose the right white woman to marry.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's what is sad in a way is, and this is the part that I think gets ignored in all the Nepo baby and psyop talk, is there was an era, and it was very short-lived, where working class people could make music and make a living.
That's right. And that was it.
And not even make music. Maybe you just played on, maybe you made music in the sense of you played on other people's records.
Yeah, the Wrecking Crew, right? That documentary is amazing. Like think of how
And
many
that's the Wrecking Crew.
records that they were on.
You mentioned the next version of it, which is Toto, who got to do that and win Grammys.
Yeah. But like the only people that know are like the nerdiest of the music nerds, right?
Because that era is so over. It's just so over. You have to have a certain amount of access to do this seriously and money to do this seriously.
Well,
and again, you know, you're out there. I'm not out there anymore.
Right.
How many young people are picking up instruments that, you know, didn't really have much?
I mean, more than I think a lot of people realize, but like you're never going to hear about them is the problem. And that's, you know, it's interesting to see how that works. I stay very engaged with it. You know, like it's an active part of my life. It's not something like I thought these dudes like they want to talk about touring. It's like, bitch, last time you were on tour with George W. Bush was president. Like, what are you doing talking about this? Like, get out of here. But they, you know, we have this thing where, for whatever reason, in the arts, at least, we don't like to admit that there's a case system, and there is. Yeah. I'm sorry, but it's like, you know, for some reason we've not internalized the aspects of the very tiresome privilege debate to include opportunity based on anything other than you know, whiteness. Where it's like, well, it's not about whiteness, it's about greenness, as in how much of you got in the bank and like what people you know. And that doesn't mean it's automatically going to be, you know, a avenue for success, but it's going to get you indoors that you wouldn't otherwise get into. And that's half of what it is about access. But the thing is that the craft isn't there. The craft isn't there, man. And like, you could pump all the money you wanted to. You can't polish a turd, man. and that's why so many of these, you know, fail son, fail daughters, like, you know, it's like, all right, well, good luck to you with whatever you do. And, you know, again, you go jump into your swimming pool full of money like Uncle Scrooge McDuck and go swim around in it, because being on stage is not for you. Again, I think there has to be some there, and I think there's another thing that we've been saying over and over on this show. If I don't care about their marketing, everybody had marketing. Every band that you think was the most meritocratic success ever had major label marketing. Nirvana was on Geffen. Yeah. Well, and they, you know, they had ambitions, and you know, Kurt's whole look was very carefully cultivated to be and it was in opposition to a different look that was ascendant at the time. But it wasn't like, you know, he was an actual logger, you know. And it's kind of lame and BS to pretend otherwise. But yeah, it's
not to shit on them to say they were on Geffen. It's just to say that, you know, there was marketing behind them.
Sure.
That got them in your face.
I mean, so were the Ramones, you know, so were Sex Pistols. Like, you know, it's like there's money in rebellion, and there always has been. That's nothing new. There's commodification of said rebellion, but we also now have stick with me on this. We have commodification for the outrage of something existing. Yes. That's the culture that we live in now.
Yes.
And if you think the currency is anything other than that, boy, you must not be on social media much.
And that to me is the whole. Maybe that's the whole point of the show. Maybe we should wrap it. But you hit the nail on the head of the whole show. That there's a commodification of outrage in your critique of music where you're able to, and it's an ecosystem that both those things exist in. You're able to shit on a band like Geese, and Geese is able to get a few extra spins of people going, I want to hear this bullshit.
Yeah, actually, I
too.
kind of like it. I don't know. I thought you were kind of hard. And like the more hyperbolic, the better, too. And which is why, it's a shame because that's something that it'd be cool if culture wasn't like that. That'd be great. But I'm telling you it is. I'm telling you, I am excellent at slagging people off. Excellent. Like one of the best to do it. But I don't do it because that's not the world that I want to create. But boy, if I did.
Because then you're a shitty version of Johnny Rotten.
Yeah, but might as well put the black cape on and tie my hair black and get a goatee or whatever and be evil Conan, right?
I watched a documentary that I'm sure you've seen, as you are the music documentary king. I'm jealous, about Pill, and I didn't really know that much about Pill, which is ultimately about John Lydon.
It is, but there's some great Martin Atkins stuff who I find to be fascinating, not just as a drummer and as an influential drummer for that era, especially for Flowers of Romance and what have you, but just an incredibly interesting dude in the world of creativity and music, music industry, what have you, just an incredibly intelligent guy. And then, John Wobble and Keith Levine, who are just like genuine freaks, especially Keith Levine, where it's like, just genuine freak that, the right place at the right time. Would have just been a gibbering homeless man, and if he hadn't been found in there.
More right place, right time. But in watching that, I felt like the character of John Lydon was put away a little bit. You
get a glimpse of the actual guy,
yeah.
Right? Which is sort of not as needlessly hyperbolic as he is in most media appearances, but also acutely aware of his own image and always kind of bristling against that and provoking reaction to the point where it's like it was almost in a way designed for these times, where it's like
I think he created
it's all exhausting.
You're
probably right.
I'll go deeper. Yeah. I think he's part of the architects of these times. But in watching him, the real him, I think, gets turned on when we talk about his family, right? Like they wanted to interview his wife.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
No, you don't get to talk to her. She's invisible to you. She didn't ask for this. Same thing with the kids, with the grandkids, rather. Right?
Yeah. We just draws a line in the sand. Yeah, I think it's called The Public Image is Rotten. Is the name of that movie, if I'm right. I think it's even on YouTube, Tubi, all that stuff.
I watched it on Tubi. Yeah.
The people's platform, right?
Tubi is a great. If you guys don't have money, you're talking to someone that doesn't. Tubi is a great platform for music documentaries. They have a ton of
and some of the most unhinged advertising you'll ever see shows up on Tubi as well. Where it's like, wow, is anyone like at the wheel for this platform?
I mean,
like,
have you seen what they let people
running
upload?
Wild with it? I know. Well, yeah, exactly. But I think that I think you're right, and it shows that it's easy to reduce John Lydon to his most incendiary commentary and repulsive comments and whatnot. But I think that he's almost a Bob Dylan-esque character in some ways. That like his entire time he's been fighting against his own image, the public, and it gets so cyclical, like it's an Ouroboros or something, where it just kind of feeds into each other. That I think people think they're these deeply held beliefs that he has. Like he's literally trying to get a rise out of you. Does he believe it? Doesn't matter. Like he's just like an old dude who is like taking care of his. I think she's got Alzheimer's, right? His wife
and his
like,
grandkids. Yeah, because the stepdaughter had a horrible drug addiction and just dropped the kids off to him.
Yeah, and that's. I'm not saying ruinous empathy is the way to go, but you never know what people are going through, and sometimes you just cut people some slack. But also, if they're a celebrity, like I get it, but it's people are whole people, not just the totality of their incorrect opinions.
They're not all psyops.
They're not all psyops, indeed.
So
we sorted it all out. We sorted it out tonight. I feel like we got to the meat of the matter. The Geese was in fact a psyop, which is the. You know what, man? If I got to the level that people were like, Kona Neutron is a psyop, I was like, yep, nailed it.
You nailed it.
I'd just be like, I got the secret society together. You know, we're funded by the Rothschilds.
If someone's doing a show about you, being
I just lean into
shit,
it. Yeah, great.
Fuck this record. Fuck this guy. Yep, I made it.
You want exactly. You want to poke the tiger? Boy, I got.
Thank you very much.
Let's roll.
you let me know that I'm officially there. Now I'm showing up to that venue with a whole different attitude. 25 people made videos telling me to go fuck myself.
Right, exactly. I can do armed combat. Let's go, baby. Get in the ring.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Yeah, sounds
good.
But
so you got a tour coming up in the East Coast. What else is coming up?
So we just got done with the East Coast tour, which was wonderful. We got a run up on the West Coast. So we're doing Sacramento, San Francisco, Eureka, Portland, Seattle with The Null. So that's Myles from Victor and Associates, his new band with Charan Raghunath, who is a best-selling author. Is like How Memory Works, I think, is the name of his book. Really interesting. But he's like on MSNBC and stuff. Anyway, the rock band. It's kind of Shellac, Fugazi plus Minutemen kind of deal. We're doing all those dates with them. Really looking forward to that. There's the Caterwaul West on September 4th and 5th in Los Angeles at Permanent Records Roadhouse. That's going to be great. 2 days of festivities there. Lots of rad bands. We have limited, we'll go ahead and call it a deferred record release tour that's Milwaukee, Madison, Chicago, Minneapolis, none of which are places that I have played this year, hilariously, on September 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. There's 2 tours coming up for later in the fall that are more comprehensive and spanning different areas. Extreme rural Utah. I don't know. Moab probably is the closest we get to there. I like. I mean, I like the pretty areas of Utah, the non-Salt Lake City parts. But I mean, tell me where to play. I'm down. I do know. Cosmic Kid just played Grand Junction, Colorado, and I'm like, huh. I've been through there so many times. I never once thought of playing.
There was a venue there, but make sure you bring your all-white band.
Oh, God. It's like that, huh? Okay. Well, it is rural Colorado, I guess.
Yeah,
so think of that what you will.
Don't try to be cute. Hey, I got some colored fellows with me.
Basically, green room situation, huh?
No green rooms.
There's a lot of stuff going on. NeutronFriends.com, NeutronFriends.bandcamp.com for the new record, Way of the Neutron. We're coming to Washington State in August. So I think we're only playing Seattle this time. Charon's like his schedule is like nuts. So like they can't go out for that long. We'll probably do some more comprehensive in Washington later this year. But yeah, NeutronFriends.bandcamp.com, Way of the Neutron, pick up vinyl. We have shopping bags. They've been very popular, like record bag style or / go to your farmer's market, what have you. That's cool. We have some leftover T-shirts. We have a couple new designs coming up as well. But and of course, Platonic Reversal, my weekly podcast. It's music related. So if you're listening to this, it's probably very much your style. It's like Kira Rossler from Black Flag on. Gene Troutman of Queens of Stone Age was right before that. Thursdays, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. Streaming live on YouTube and Twitch, and then podcasts later everywhere. Always free, no ads, no sponsors, no kidding. Patreon.com/Platonic Reversal, $1 a month for advance access. I'm lucky enough that the podcast has found its audience and then some, and people will come up at shows often and tell me about it. And
that's dope.
And that's great. I don't take that lightly. And I usually have a sticker to give them. Here, have a sticker. And then I usually ask them, would you buy a T-shirt of a podcast? Which leads to be an interesting conversation. Still haven't pulled the trigger, by the way. I figure if it's asking someone in person what they can do, say no. Like, oh, no, I wouldn't. Actually, I'd respect that if they did. But I still want to get stuck with them. Let's see. Moving to Extravaganza, celebrating 5 years next week. Thank you. Yes. We're doing Terminator and Terminator 2 coming up. There, of course, were no movies other than Terminator and Terminator 2, so we don't have to worry about doing any of those. And then the Odyssey, the Nolan Odyssey coming up. And then I guess I'm going to watch Titanic, which I have never seen. I do know that the ship
it was filmed. A lot of it was filmed here in Baja.
That's right, because there's that. Yeah, I read something about that.
Yeah, down the street.
So that'll be a thing. So Movie Night Extravaganza, generally Tuesdays, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. Check that out. Let's see. Anything else? I'm going to be on Film Suck talking about the works of Howard Hawks with Eileen Jones, which I'm very excited about. I just rewatched Rio Bravo, one of the best westerns of all time, even though John Wayne's one of the stars, and John Wayne, of course, notorious piece of shit, but great in this movie. And Quentin Tarantino, very inspired, as well as John Carpenter, both of them very inspired by not only Howard Hawks, but Rio Bravo specifically. But that's going to be exciting.
Didn't Howard Hawks do the original Thing?
Did he do the Thing?
Or the original Fog? The Fog.
He did. Boy, I don't remember. Let's see. You put me on the spot here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But that's he did a lot of Howard Hawks is like Only Angels Have Wings. I'd say should be called Only Angels Have X-Wings because George Lucas ripped so much of it off from it. You wouldn't have Assault on Precinct 13 without or Ghosts of Mars without Rio Bravo. Like the quintessential hangout movie, what have you. And it should be an interesting conversation. Looking forward to that. I guess that's enough, right? See me on tour on August. These are not going to be huge shows. They're going to be anchored by us. So if you're around in those cities, come out, buy a ticket, come buy a T-shirt, record, what have you, or let people know. That always helps because we all live in little bubbles now. So
gross bubbles.
So you don't have to. But appreciate any effort being made. And I'm on the internet and all the things, unfortunately. Although, as I just said many times over, I don't use them that often, but I'm around. So, thanks for having me. It's great to do this. But I feel like we went really long without doing one of these. I saw you in person in San Diego, even in the spring.
Yeah, and shout out for introducing me to Daniel House. That was really nice. He's a nice guy, nice fellow.
John Brady from Sweet Lake Johnny was there too. So,
John is now a homie because he lives in TJ.
That's right. It's not that far from me. Yeah, that was.
No.
We took that picture. That was all of us. There was it's 4 different friend groups.
Jordan was in that.
Jordan was there too. Yeah,
arranging the live shows that we've done.
Right.
So it was a
good time.
Ecoy was in that. That's been on this channel numerous times. So it was an all-star picture. Is what that was. It was an all-star.
So Howard Hawks wrote and produced The Thing from Another World, the original The Thing. So he didn't direct it, but he wrote and produced it. So there you go. Good on you. I just looked it up. That's how fast I am. Looked it up.
Yeah, I remember I watched an interview with John Carpenter. Different John. Different John. The better of the Johns, by the way.
I was going to say, trying to make
better of the Johns. I have my opinions on John Hughes.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you don't believe me, go back and rewatch Breakfast Club and go, nah, fuck these kids.
Yeah, we did it. We did a coming of age month, and we did Breakfast Club for one of them. And
did you kind of think fuck those kids watching it?
A little bit, yeah. It's one of those things that parts of it worked, but also worst makeover in the history of movies, maybe, where it's step down, total step down. What are we doing? Come on.
Why did you make Ali Sheedy, who already looked kind of young as the goth girl, you made her look like an old woman trying to look like a young woman?
Yeah, great. Yeah, real good.
Thanks, the 50s. That's another show. But thank you, Conan. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for I'm sure you guys are going to have opinionated comments. I can't wait to read them and share them with Conan. I can't say that Conan's going to be like Kuba and respond to your meaner comments like Kuba and I sometimes do.
I can almost guarantee you I won't. Unless they're very funny. If they're very funny, maybe.
If they're funny, that's one
probably
thing. These usually aren't funny. But I don't know what we're going to get from this show. I think this show is a show where you can't really say, well, fuck off. You don't understand what a psyop or an industry plan is. It's like, well, it's just the industry, brother.
It's all going to be Billy Corgan's alts. He's going to be, this show sucks.
Back to how you know you made it.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'll look you right in the eye, Billy Corgan. If you tell me to go fuck myself, I'm like, nah, maybe I made it.
Yeah, exactly.
And take that however you want, Mr. Corgan. But thank you guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We are